When you play the Game of Thrones, you
Subscribe and like.
or you die. There is no middle ground.
Alright, hello guys. So, we're back on the Grease Goblins channel. This is actually the second time I'm recording this video, because the first time I recorded this video, I kept saying the wrong place for some reason. Brain not working. Also, I wanted to say before this video started, thank you guys for all the support you guys have been leaving on the channel. I really do appreciate it. It makes my day. Love you guys, as always. And yeah, if you guys want to see more content from me, I upload a Song of Ice and Fire videos every Wednesday and Friday at 7 p.m. U.S. Central Time. And yeah, let's get into it. So, I've been rereading A Game of Thrones a bit. And something that's always bothered me, and I think it's bothered a lot of other people, is Daenerys says that she lived in Bravos with a red door. This is like the big house that they were in. It was a big house, it had a red door, and there was a lemon tree outside. Well, the problem with that, and a lot of people have brought up, is that we're told from Sam's POV and Arya's that lemon trees don't normally grow on Bravos. And you also look at, it's mostly salt water. I will get into that later, because there is an exception to that. As well as the weather isn't the best. It's rainy a lot of the time. It's just not good. Not a good time. So, a lot of people have theorized that possibly Dany didn't actually live in Bravos. Now, why that might be is because George specifically states in one of the chapters that lemon trees are famously from Dorne. Now, Dorne's a very interesting place to say this, because Dorne is kind of a Targaryen, loyalist, kind of restoration people, that a lot of people thought maybe Daenerys went to Dorne. Now, this doesn't really make sense for a few reasons, just because, A, you would have had to convince Daenerys that he was living somewhere else all these years, and because Viserys was old enough to know where he was. Why would Viserys lie about where they were? Also, if they were in Dorne, why would Doran Martell or whoever was sheltering them steal all their riches and then basically leave them kind of to just be beggars to die? If they're trying to basically have a Targaryen restoration type thing. So Dorne doesn't make the most sense to me. Also, Dorne is typically very hot, and she never describes in the many chapters we get of her thinking about the Red Door house, of it being really hot. She does say green fields, as well as the lemon tree. So Dorne doesn't really seem like the right place. You couldn't really hide her anywhere else in Westeros, and I don't know who would, with Robert wanting them dead so badly. So the big thing to think about is Daenerys would have had to been in a place where she felt safe, because it's always looked at as a fond memory. Even Viserys feels safe in where they were, because they were always moving around up to this point or after the point, and they felt perfectly good. This is regarded as a fond memory. So, if it's not in Westeros, how could it be in Bravos? So, as I'm going to reference, especially in the description, I'm going to reference Joe Magician and In Deep Geeks videos, because I want to do a little bit of background information. It's been a little bit since I've gone on this topic. There actually is a fresh water, like, I guess like river, lake type thing, to where lemon trees, you would have a water source. Now, the other thing is the weather. Well, for one thing, the weather changes a lot, and this is when Daenerys was 5, or was like around the 4 to 5 range of age. The weather can change quite a bit, and let's say it wasn't the weather, say it was the exact same for when Arya was there than it was when Daenerys was there. They could have also had a greenhouse, because we know for a fact that they had to have been living nicely or in a rich area. Just based on the fact that it was a big house, they felt safe. You know that they were probably living in kind of a rich area. So with that being said, it is possible that they could have had like a greenhouse or something like that. Kind of how the Starks have in Winterfell. They have a greenhouse where they can, have their own, whatever, garden or whatever. So it is possible. Now, it only is possible if they're living in a rich area. Now, with them feeling safe, there's only really one place that makes sense. And it's the Sea Lord of Braavos. It's like palace, basically. Now, this makes sense because, again, they would have felt safe. Robert wouldn't have touched them. Okay, not in the Sea Lord's place. So, they felt safe. That's number one. Two, in the Sea Lord's palace or whatever, they definitely could have had the money to have a lemon tree or something like that in place. Plus, the fresh water actually does end quite close to or like right next to the Sea Lord's palace. So it's a lot of things are very possible that could have been where she was. Now, the books actually give us a little bit more confirmation, I feel like, that this was definitely what happened. So we continue on the story, and in A Dance of Dragons, Quentin Martell gives her basically the marriage pact that was supposed to be Viserys and Arianne getting married. It was signed by Oberyn, and it was basically observed or signed by the Sea Lord of Braavos at the time. So it makes sense that this would have happened. The Sea Lord would have been hosting Daenerys and Viserys those years in the Red Door. And what I think is a really cool theory, this one is straight from In Deep Geek. He added this part, which I had never heard from anybody, which I thought is a really cool thing. So make sure you subscribe to him if you're not already. Great YouTuber. I use him to fall asleep, by the way. His voice, I wish I had that man's voice. He thinks basically that how they get the lemon tree is Oberyn gives it to her, or gives it to them, I guess, as kind of that sign that, the Dornish are there. And I don't think I think George brings it up so much because you look at Daenerys. Look at Daenerys' life, right? So her life is born on Dragonstone. Almost immediately, they have to leave Dragonstone. She doesn't remember Dragonstone either. And they go to Braavos. This is like her first home, basically. This is where she's growing up. As a kid, this is the first place she remembers. And she was safe. For the time they were there, she was safe. She could be a kid. She could be herself. She could do whatever she wanted. And then after that, she's on the road, always looking over her shoulder that assassins might be coming after her or whatever. Even when she gets to Illyrio and she kind of is like living nice, I guess, for a little while. Or for I believe it's a few months. I think it's like 5 to 9 months, somewhere in that range. She doesn't feel safe there either. She always feels like Illyrio wants something as an ulterior motive, which he does. So she's right on that. But she never really has a home, because after that, she's with the Dothraki. They're always moving. Even when it seems like she maybe has a home at Vaes Dothrak, Khal Drogo dies. Okay, she's can't really go back there. And the rest of the time is really just spent her going place to place, never having that safe place where she can just be herself. So I think George brings that up so much because that is basically the only home she's ever really known. Which I think is a good callback. I think is something that will affect Daenerys' storyline as we go on. Because I think her plot could go a couple ways. I think her just getting to be able to go and live, like, not be a queen, just live by herself, or with like Dario or something like that. I really hope it's not Dario, because I have a theory that Dario, he ain't all what he's saying he is, but that she could just kind of go live, you know, kind of have a home, you know, not have to be the queen and have all the stress, all this. That's the happy ending for me for Daenerys. Now, there's a lot of bad endings for Daenerys. She goes mad queen, somebody has to kill her. Azor Ahai stuff, Jon has to stab her. There's not a lot of good endings for Daenerys, in my opinion, but that'd be a cool one if she did get that. I don't think it's going to happen. But yeah, I do feel like why Daenerys keeps referencing the Red Door is because that's really her home, or her only home she's ever known. Yeah, in short, I really don't think there's a big theory. There's not really some big thing. And I think George has even confirmed where she lived in those 5 years with the Red Door. It's just, it's basically just in Bravos. It's the Sea Lord of Bravos' palace, or keep, whichever you want to say. A really cool thing. This is another thing I'm pulling straight from In Deep Geek. Okay, full credit to this guy. I did not think of this at all, so don't look at me as I'm some smart dude, because this was all him. I thought I would bring it up at the end of this video, just as a cool thing. So, In Deep Geek goes on to say that Syrio Forel, if you think about it, at the time that he would have been the first Sword of Bravos, it would have lined up when Daenerys was there, which I think is really cool. That's a really cool thing to think about. So kudos for that man, doing a bunch of extra research, because the guy is a great YouTuber. So again, if you haven't seen him, just really cool. Really, that's a really cool thing to think about. It doesn't really impact the story that much, but it's just really cool to think about. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you guys want to see more videos from me, let me know. Subscribe, like, comment. Like I said already in the video, but you know, might as well keep plugging. I will see you guys all in the next video. I hope you all enjoyed. Peace.